Hey everyone, it's LOZA here and welcome to the Fixing the Dark Magicians Part 1, a look at the history. Shoutouts to George H for all the visuals you'll see in this video, and a massive shout out always to Cyber Mini for the music you see in a lot of my content. Let's dive in. Welcome to the world dedicated to the Dark Magicians. Whether you're a collector, a fan, or a duelist looking for tips, you'll find in-depth content exploring the Dark Magician's legacy. Welcome Dark Magician fans. Let's take a look at 2002 to 2010. We saw cards like the Skilled Dark Magician, which required three spell counters, to tag into the Dark Magician. Dark Magic Curtain, which could summon Dark Magician from the deck at the cost of half your life points, and you couldn't summon any other monsters that turn, similar to Red Eye's Fusion. Magical Dimension was another way you could summon Dark Magician along with Ancient Rules. High Summoner's Art could search Dark Magician. Other strategies were getting Dark Magician go on the field, Sage's Stone, summoning Dark Magician, using Dedication through Light of Darkness to summon Dark Magician of Chaos, which was unfortunately banned for how generically good it was at adding back one-of spells like Pot of Greed, Snatch Steal, the list goes on, right? Graceful Charity, all those crazy spells back in the day. So during this period, Dark Magician cards didn't really have a specific strategy. Instead, they're often tied to situational plays that reflected key moments from the manga and the anime, rather than fitting into a streamlined or cohesive strategy. Let's jump to 2011 to 2013. During the Synchro era, Dark Magician was pretty much completely forgotten. Blue Eyes did get some stuff, however. In the XYZ era, only a few cards provided support, including the notable Magi Magician Go, which unfortunately never made it to the TCG. So we did have things like Eborn Illusion Magician here, which could help you establish more Dark Magicians essentially by summoning one from the deck and giving you an effect when you attacked with the vanilla. You could banish a card, which tied nice with Circle having two banishes a turn. I've got to admit, Circle didn't exist yet, but looking forward, that's going to be cool. Daigusto Emerald was also a strategy employed to summon Dark Magician from the grave. It involved you using Summon a Monk to bring out Prisma from deck, Prisma's effect becoming Dark Magician in name by sending him to the bin by revealing a Dark Magician fusion, and then overlaying into Emerald to special a vanilla from your grave by detaching material. That being Dark Magician, but why? Why were we summoning him? I don't know, just stats. Moving to 2014, this year we received the best support possible. Dark Magician finally became an official archetype for the first time. This was a huge moment. Now all the effort it took to summon a single Dark Magician or Dark Magician Go was worth it, because you could easily summon powerful fusion monsters using just one material thanks to the Eye of Timaeus. Cue the Eye of Timaeus coming into play. Unfortunately, this card wasn't ever searchable later on in the later Dark Magician support, and this could be because it was introduced very early to let you go into Dark Paladin, Amulet Dragon, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, and Dark Flare Knight very early on in the game when Dark Magician didn't really have a game plan. So this was a way to fuse without really needing polymerization or anything else. It was pretty good for the time, but I don't think this would have made the deck anywhere close to meta relevant. 2014 was Cosmo peak format, I believe. Cosmo was primarily meta in 2015 and 2016. Okay, so we were pretty close to that. These cards were not scratching up to something like that. We're now going to jump to 2016 to 2018, and oh boy, Dark Magician finally received tons of support across various products, focusing on summoning powerful monsters that take on the Dark Magician name while on the field. The deck evolved into a control strategy capable of banishing up to 2 cards per turn and wiping out the opponent's back row of spells and traps. Some of the cards we'll talk about are Magician's Rod, being able to search any spell trap in the Dark Magician archetype except for Eye of Timaeus. You are able to go and get Circle, Eternal Soul, Magician's Navigation, Dark Magic Inheritance. All these cards were pretty alright for the time. The deck mainly just wanted to set up Circle, Eternal Soul, and Dark Magician, which was the Dark Magician Triangle, as you can see here. Unfortunately, Eternal Soul has the downside of blowing up your field. A bit later on, we also got the promo card Apprentice Illusion Magician, which helped in getting Dark Magician and also just having an extra body, or her effect to give your spellcasters 2k during the damage step was also nice. There was some XYZs you could play, Eborn Illusion, Big Eye, Flare Metal. I don't think Felgrand was out for a long time, but that's okay. There was also Draco Sack. Keeper of Dragon Magic came out around this time, but unfortunately, it just wasn't very good. I think Magician's Rod was the better normal summon. Alright, we're going to 2019 to 2022. This is pretty much where we're at for modern day Dark Magician, because we haven't got any more support. So Dark Magician received a new wave of support that focused on fusion summoning. However, this required adding bricks to the deck to make it work. Additionally, they gained access to the versatile strategy that allows summoning one of the best fusion monsters in the game. But now, anyone can play it too. So this is of course referring to Anaconda and Red Eye's fusion summoning Red Eye's Dark Dragoon, which was absolutely crazy in Dark Magician. Now of course other decks are able to do this too, so I really do hope going forward we get a Dark Magician Link 2 that lets us do pretty much the same thing but just for us. I think being locked into Dark Magician monsters, maybe Dark Spellcasters that specifically list Dark Magician, is a great way to go. We also got the card Soul Servant, Illusion of Chaos, the Timaeus monster, which is not very good in my opinion, but Secrets has definitely grown on me. Secrets I think is the better fusion card here. Still a one-off, not really the fusion spell you want to see. We do need a Red Eyes fusion style fusion card in future, so hopefully that will be on our 2025 radar. Magician Souls of course was a sensational piece of support, probably one of the better ones here. Along with Soul Servant, you're able to pretty much do any combo in the deck you like, as Magician Souls will mill Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl or any of the Palladiums, and then you're able to Soul Servant, go stack Rod, stack Illusion of Chaos, stack Timaeus, stack literally anything in the deck, and banish Soul Servant and draw one. So you're able to draw what you stack, which is really huge. Now unfortunately, of course, Anaconda's been banned now. A lot of Dark Magician players were happy because, I don't know, that's how they are, right? They're giga set on playing the deck pure, and Anaconda wasn't pure, and playing Red Eyes wasn't pure, and that's a strange hill to die on in my opinion, because I just want to play what makes the deck the best, and I can say Anaconda definitely made Dark Magician playable at the very, very least. So yeah, I miss Anaconda, but I do hope we get our own version of it, similar to like the Fiendsmith Link 2, or just, you know, other decks who have a good Link 1, Link 2. Something that lets us fusion summon would be really nice. You'll notice here on Circle it also says you'll never add any DM card, and the reason for that is it only adds Dark Magician spells and traps, and the more you played the deck, the less Dark Magician spells and traps you played because of how bricky they were. A lot of them don't start your combos. Like, Illusion of Chaos is your rotor for the deck. If Illusion of Chaos was a spell, Circle would be a lot better, I think. But yeah, it's a bit of an issue that Circle can only really add cards that don't do anything on their own, so yeah, a lot of lists put Circle down to 1, Eternal Soul down to 1, Soul Servant was normally a 2 to 3, Secrets was a 1. It's just the way it is until we get better spells in Dark Magician. For example, a fusion spell, as we mentioned earlier, would be pretty much exactly what we need. Something to get the deck going, a engine starter that's a spell, which is kind of baffling in a spellcaster deck that we don't have. Now we're looking at the 2022 to 2024 timeline. We could only enjoy these versions with great synergy for about 3 months before the deck's performance declined after the ban list hit. After that, players attempted to update the deck by mixing with other archetypes and engines, but it still struggles to keep up with the current meta. So, this is referring to Predator and Anaconda's ban. We got given a bunch of good support and consistency. We lost one of our best Link monsters. Banned on May 17th, 2022, Verte Anaconda would never see play again in Dark Magician outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Now, the whole combo of Rotten Souls doesn't have an endgame plan, and while you can replace it with things like IP, Masquerena, SP Little Knight, or anything else you can think of, it just nothing measured up to the feeling of linking into Verte Anaconda and summoning Dragoon while milling Dark Magician to the graveyard. If you could only ban one of these cards, which one would you choose? Dragoon or Verte? Now I'm going to point out that in Master Duel currently, as of right now, both are legal and no one cares. In the OCG, Dragoon is legal but Anaconda remains banned, and that is the same in the TCG. I think it's time for Anaconda to 1, come back. If it can be back on Master Duel and no one cares, I think it can be back in general. But, in saying that, I would much prefer we get our own Dark Magician version of Anaconda. So let's look at some of the problems that Anaconda gave us. We were forced to include bricks to play the game. Red Eye's Dark Dragoon was amazing, but playing Red Eyes was not great. It did give you a second pop on your Dragoon, but I don't think it was worth it overall. Verte Anaconda's ban made it much harder to summon Dark Dragoon, and, you know, it is one of the most powerful monsters in a Dark Magician deck. Now you had to hard draw Red Eye's fusion and rely on things like Red Eye's Insight and other inconsistent methods to summon Dragoon, which slowed down the deck's power and locked you out of summoning by other methods. After summoned using the effects of Magician's Souls and Rod, this monster's on the field were kind of useless in the archetype. We did find a combo with Tamiya's that allowed you to get to Dragoon, but that meant your Rod wasn't searching Circle, it wasn't searching Soul Servant, it wasn't searching Eternal Soul, which was pivotal to the Anaconda play. The reason Anaconda was so good was because your Magician's Rod could focus on getting the Dark Magician Triangle online. It could go and get Circle, it could go and get Soul Servant, it could go and get whatever you needed, Salvation, while you knew you could go Magician Souls, send your excess pieces for draws, for example sending the Salvation that set the Eternal Soul for draws, and then going into your Anaconda, getting your Dark Magician in the grave and your Dragoon. So it meant not only could your Magician's Rod focus on getting part of the Dark Magician Triangle, it meant your Magician's Souls could focus on sending a second brick to the grave. By second brick, of course, I mean Dark Magician Girl, Mana Mahad, instead of Dark Magician, because your Anaconda will send you Dark Magician, unless it gets hand trapped, which is a whole nother story. Drawing into the fusion pieces needed for Red Eye's Dark Dragoon and Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight can be clunky, leading to dead hands and a lot of slow starts. And while the Dark Magician deck has some strong opening plays, its recovery after being disrupted is weak compared to other meta decks. Cards like Dark Magical Circle and Eternal Soul are crucial for the deck's grind game, however these cards are easily countered by back row removal, like Cosmic Cycle and Twin Twisters evenly matched. The list goes on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That is the end of part 1. Thank you so much for watching. Part 2 will be coming to the channel soon, and it will be about fixing Dark Magicians. Part 2, a failed archetype. Thank you for tuning in. Please let me know what you think of this down in the comments, and shoutouts once again to the creator George for this sensational. I've been your boy LOZA. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more, and I'll see you later. Peace.